Problem 6. Conflicts with authority. If you are having trouble getting along with your boss, you may be having transference feelings. Transference is when you experience feelings in the present that really belong to some unfinished business in the past. Transference happens frequently when with bosses because they are authority figures. The boss employee relationship can trigger authority conflicts you might have. You can begin to have a strong relations that are not appropriate to the current relationship. Suppose your supervisor tells you that he wants something done differently. Immediately you feel put down. You think, he never thinks I do anything right. I'll show him. Your supervisor may have made the comment in passing, but the feeling it triggered were very strong indeed. The reality is that the interaction may be tapping into unresolved hurt from past authority relationships, such as parents or teachers. When a transference relationship starts, you may begin to act out all the old patterns you did when with parents. This never works. You become a child on the job. To have boundaries is to take responsibility for your transference. If you find yourself having disproportionately strong reactions to someone, take some time and look inside to see if the feelings are familiar. Do they remind you of someone from the past? Did mom or dad treat you like that? Do they have the same personality as this person? Are you responsible for working out these feelings? Until you face your own feelings, you can't even see who others really are. You are looking at them through your own distortions, through your own unfinished business. When you see others clearly without transference, you will know how to deal with them. Another example would be strong feelings of competition with a coworker. This may represent some competitive relationship from the past, such as a sibling rivalry that has not been worked through. Whenever you experience strong feelings, see them as part of your responsibility. This will lead you to any unfinished business and healing, as well as keeping you from acting irrational towards coworkers and bosses. Leave the past in the past, deal with it, and do not allow it to interfere with present relationships. Problem number 7. Expecting too much of work. People people increasingly come to the workplace wanting the organization to be a family in a society where the family, church, and community are not the social support structures they once were. People look to their colleagues for the emotional support a family once provided. This lack of boundaries between the personnel and the work life is fraught with all sorts of difficulties. The workplace is ideally should be supportive, safe, and nurturing, but this atmosphere should primarily support the employee in work-related ways to help her learn, improve, and get a job done. The problem arises when someone wants the job to provide what her parents did not provide for her, primarily nurturing, relationship, self esteem, and approval. Work is not set up this way, nor is it what the typical job asks of someone. The inherent conflicts in this setup is this: the job expects adult functioning, and the person wants childhood needs met. These differing expectations will inevitably collide. Health comes from owning unmet childhood needs and working them out. The problem is that the workplace is not the place to do that. Your higher ups at work have expectations. They will ask you from you without giving you because they are going to pay you for your work. They are not obligated to provide all the emotional support you need. You need to make sure that you are meeting your needs for support and emotional repair outside of work. Plug into supportive and healing networks that will help you grow out of your emotional hurts and unmet needs and build you up so you can function well at the job. In the adult world that has adult expectations, get your relationship needs met outside of work, and then you will be able to work your best without getting your needs mixed up with what the company needs from you. Keep your boundaries firm. Protect those hurt places from your workplace, which is not only set up to heal but also may wound unintentionally. Problem number 8, working, uh, taking work related stress home. Just as we should keep good boundaries on our personal issues and keep them out of the workplace, we need to keep some boundaries on work and keep it out of the home. This generally has two components. The first is emotional. Conflicts at work need to be dealt with and worked through so they do not begin to affect the rest of your life. If denied, they can cause major depressions and other illnesses that begin to spill into other areas of life. Make sure you understand work issues and face them directly so that your work does not emotionally control your life. Find out why a certain coworker is able to get to you or why your boss is able to control the rest of your life. Find out why your successes or failures on the job are able to bring you up or down. These important character issues need to be worked through. Otherwise, the job will own you. The second component is finite things such as time, energy, and other resources. Make sure that the job, which is literally never done, does not continue to spill over into your personal life and cost you relationships and other things that matter. Put limits on special projects that are going to take you more time than usual, and make sure overtime does not become a pattern. One company we know has such a high value for family that they dock people for working overtime. They want them to put limits on their work and be home with the family. Find out your own limits and live by them. These are good boundaries. Problem number 9, disliking your job. Boundaries are where your identity comes from. Boundaries define what is me and what is not me. Our work is part of our identity in that it taps into particular giftedness and the exercise of those gifts in the community. However, many people are never able to find a true work identity. They stumble from job to job, never really finding anything that is them. More often than not, this is a boundary problem. They have not been able to own their own gifts, talents, wants, desires, and dreams because they are unable to set boundaries on others' definitions and expectations on them. This happens when people who have not separated from the family they grew up in. A pastor was having great difficulty with his church and the board of elders. Finally, right in the middle of a leadership meeting, he said, I never wanted to be a pastor in any way. Uh, it was my mother's dream, not mine. He did not have good enough boundaries with his mother to define his own career path. As a result, he had fused with her wishes and was miserable. His heart had not been in it from the start. This can happen also with friends and culture. All other expectations can be very strong influences. You must make sure that your boundaries are strong enough that you do not let others define you. Instead, work with God to find out who you really are and what kind of work you are made for. Romans 12, verse 2, speaks of having boundaries against these kinds of pressure from others. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will, you should have a realistic expectation of yourself based on who you really are, your own true self with your own particular giftedness. You can only do this with boundaries that stand up and say, "This is me and this is not me." Stand up against others' expectations of you. Finding your life's work. Finding the kind of work that fits your strengths and passions involves taking risks. First, you need to firmly establish your identity, separating yourself from those who are attached to and following your desires. You must take ownership of how you feel, how you think, and what you want. You must assess your talents and limitations, and then you must begin to step out as God leads you. For God wants you to discover and use your gifts to His glory. He asks only that you include Him in the process. Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your ways to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. Psalms 37, verses 4 through 5. God also, however, calls you to be accountable for what you do. Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Ecclesiastes 11, verse 9. As you develop your talents and skills, look at your work as a partnership between you and God. He has given you gifts and He wants you to develop them. Commit your ways to the Lord and you will find your work identity. Ask Him to help.